For BamaCentral.com, my name is Clay Miller, and this is the Extra Point. Today, I'm joined by Bama Central writer Katie Wyndham to discuss Alabama softball and their upcoming series against the Florida Gators. But first, let's start with last week's series against Georgia, because they started out a little slow, but then picked up two big wins, culminating in a perfect game pitched for Lexi Kilfoyle. So, what did you think about their series against Georgia and where the team is at right now in general?
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting weekend, losing the first game and then run rolling them in the last game and getting close to run roll territory in the second game over the Bulldogs. But it just kind of shows, which Patrick Murphy has talked about all season, the depth of the SEC and that anyone can beat anyone. And, we kind of saw in that first game, Montana fouled to get beat up a little bit again. And then, obviously the last game is the perfect game from Lexi Kilfoyle. And so some people might think, was that the plan just to go with her all along. And Patrick Murphy said the original plan was always for it to be a Lexi and Montana game. And the question was just who's going to start. And yesterday he explained in our media availability that his thinking is, you have the harder throwing pitcher closing the game out. But then obviously when Lexi was doing so good, you're not taking her out. And so it'll be interesting to see this upcoming weekend with the Florida series, who gets that first start. Because, normally this season it's been Montana getting the Friday, Sunday start, even though last week and this weekend is the Saturday, Sunday, Monday series, and Lexi Kilfoyle getting that middle start. But I think really what it shows overall is that Alabama has two true aces, which very few teams in the country can say that, except maybe the team they're playing this weekend.
Alabama has had a more difficult time in SEC play for sure. And like you said, that speaks to the depth of the league. Florida is obviously one of the top teams as well. How important of a series is this weekend? And how do you think Alabama has looked and positioned themselves as one of the top teams in the country?
Yeah, so this series is really important. I was asking Murph about this yesterday because either Alabama or Florida has won the SEC regular season every year since 2008. So not always, but pretty often, whoever wins this series, if they play, goes on to win the SEC. So it's super important. In 2019, last time Alabama played in Gainesville, they swept the series. They went on to win the SEC regular season. Last year, Florida took 2 of 3 in Tuscaloosa, which after that point, Alabama went on their 20-game win streak, but Florida won the regular season along with Arkansas. So it's a very important series. It's kind of ironic. It's almost like Alabama softball is the standard of Alabama football, where everyone just expects such excellence, because we say they've struggled a little bit in SEC play, but they're still tied for first in the conference. They're still top 5 in the country, so they're in a really good position. But this series this weekend is huge. It's a matchup between the two top pitching teams in the conference, at least ERA wise. Alabama has Montana and Lexi, and Florida has Natalie Lugo and Elizabeth Hightower and Haley Pittman. They've got a whole crew of pitchers available. And so they also have former Alabama player Skylar Wallace, who's been doing really well for them this season. I think she's leading the SEC in stolen bases and walks and things like that, and has a really high batting average and on-base percentage as well. Alabama's really seen the surge of Allie Shipman lately. And so it's a big series. And I would think, Florida's behind Alabama in the standings currently. They've also struggled. They've lost some games they probably shouldn't have. They dropped a game to Mississippi State, dropped a game at Auburn. But whoever wins the series is going to be in really good position going forward in the SEC and in the national standings when it comes to seeding time in May for the postseason.
Certainly a big series this weekend for Alabama softball. And like you said, certainly not in trouble or anything, but they want to be peaking going in to the playoff time. Thank you so much for joining me today, Katie. Appreciate your time. Once again, from BamaCentral.com, my name is Clay Miller, and this has been the Extra Point.